morning, my loves. I am cooking breakfast, but while I cook breakfast, I am going to vlog about how to trust your intuition, how to learn to trust your intuition, and experiences I've had that have helped me strengthen my intuition. So let's get in. Let me grab the eggs first. Oh shit. I forgot I had iced coffee from Dunkin' in here. Anyway, so I'm a very intuitive person. I've always been very intuitive, but I haven't always listened to my intuition. And one thing about me, anybody who knows me, who's in my life now, they know it doesn't have to make sense to me in the moment. If my intuition, my gut, spirit is telling me don't let certain people around me, don't hang out in certain places, don't do certain things, it's because the 3D world hasn't caught up to whatever I'm picking up on energetically. And I take that very seriously. Some of the reasons why, in my early 20s, I used to honestly give people the benefit of the doubt more than they deserved, truthfully. Because you never want to believe people are like bad people or that they don't have good intentions for you. But I've also learned, with all that being said, like a lot of the time when people do have bad intentions for you, it's because that's where they're at in their spiritual journey. Like they don't see like from a higher perspective, and it's not personal. Like they just like haven't put two and two together that like if you move through life that way, you're gonna end up having tons of experiences that validate you. And that's really with anything. So I will start. I don't want to talk about this too much because I brought it up before. This wasn't really like a main experience, but I do want to say, like, when you're growing up and like kind of learning to trust your gut, sometimes we do have to go through experiences to learn that. And unfortunately, experience is the best teacher sometimes, even if it's really uncomfortable at the time. So, I think as I was growing up, like I had a really good friend, and I knew intuitively that maybe we weren't the best for each other. And I put up with that for a very long time. Sometimes you also are accessing your Akashic records intuitively, and you may know spiritually like how things are going to play out with someone, but consciously you might not realize that you know that. So that could also be reasons why you feel some type of way around certain people, even if you love them and care about them. So, but the biggest the biggest teachers, I think, for me were two friends that I had. I'm not going to be too detailed, but basically it was always when I was traveling. So do not travel with people you don't know very well, because honestly, even if you do know people very well, when you travel, like, not always, but oftentimes, if you're like me, I like to travel and do everything. Like I like to go out, meet people, like party a little bit, and then wake up early the next day because ain't no time to waste, and go and like do all the touristy stuff and go hit the beach and go have lunch like seaside. Like I love to do it all. Tours, I like to plan ahead so I have an itinerary, and then at night whatever we do is what we do, so that was a hard lesson to learn as well, and kind of a little byproduct of the bigger lesson of trusting your intuition. But anyway, so these two specific times that are most notable for me, I had been feeling intuitively like I love traveling, but both times before I traveled with these particular individuals, I felt like I shouldn't be doing this. Like, I shouldn't go on this trip. And I told the first time I told one of them, and the person was like, they gaslit me. Straight up, they gaslit me. And they were like, I feel like you're really selfish. Like, I took time off work, blah, 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 this and that. And one of the biggest reasons why I think they did that was because, point blank period, they wanted to go. And also, I don't know if they would have been able to afford it without me going too. And that's the tea. So basically, we went to, I'm not even gonna say where, because I just don't want this to be too like detailed or specific. So whatever, we went on our trip. I didn't drink. I wasn't drinking really at all because I also had a gut feeling like I needed to stay sober for this trip in case some shit went down. So this person liked to drink, which is fine. Like, you know, so do I, but especially not really at that time in my life, and definitely not for this outing. And so basically there were several things that I really didn't care for. One, I didn't know this person for very long. I had met them through work at the time, and they had actually been moving. Like, they were in a relationship that was ending, and they were moving out, and they went to go get stuff from storage from another place, like, that they had previously moved from, like, the rest of their stuff. And they were like, I watched their dog for free. So those of you that know me, if you don't know me, that's fine. I have another business. It's a pet and house sitting business. So I do charge for those services. But as like a friend and knowing that we were traveling together, I said I would watch their dog for free that weekend. Plus, I don't think I had anything else booked. So I was just like, whatever, you know, like, I'm gonna do something nice. So at one point when we were on our trip, they were trying to patronize me and say, oh, I'm so glad that you're willing to watch my dog for free, you know? And so I knew what they were doing, and they were trying to manipulate me. So I called it out right then and there. I was like, listen, like, I don't mind, like, on days I can do it, like, helping you out if you need it. I don't mind. But I'm telling you right now, like, if I get a booking for a paying customer and I told you I would do a service for you, I'm going to have to cancel on you because this is, like, my income. This is what I do. And they were not too happy about that. They were like, I love how there's already stipulations, even though plans haven't even been made yet. And I had also just noticed that this person had, like, a habit of trying to kind of see what they can get out of people in general in their personal life. So I was already weary of this. There were also other times that, like, for no reason, like, this person was, like, extremely hypercritical, and I don't know if it was, like, they made me, or, like, it was because they wanted to make me feel uncomfortable for some reason. Like, I don't really know what the deal was with that, but I was just like, what else? Honestly, like, I just be letting shit go after a while, so it's hard for me to even remember some of the things that happened. Oh yeah, at one point we were out at dinner, and there was a cat there, and they were like, if I ever had a cat, I would get them declawed. And I explained to them, like, what that meant, like, what declawing a cat entails. Like, you're basically chopping off this part, like, the equivalent of, like, this part of a cat, and they're standing on their knuckles, like, as if we didn't have this part of our finger, basically. And it's really bad for their joints. It's not good for them. It hurts after a while. It can cause issues later on in their life. So I explained that, and they just straight up, like, they also had like that look in their eye, like very like devoid of like life. And that kind of scared me because honestly, like, I felt like this person was a sociopath. I don't know, but there were just things that I was like, this is weird. So anyway, fast forward, this person, one night we were out to dinner. I think it was the last night there. We were out at dinner again, and this person drinks like a whole bottle of champagne to themselves, which again, fine. But I was like, I want to drive, you know, like, I think you need to give me the keys, like, I'm gonna drive. And they were like, no, and then said something like rude, like, just about my driving. And I'm not a bad driver. Like, I think they were just trying to take jabs at me at certain points because they felt some type of way because I stood my ground and set boundaries. Sorry, not sorry. So anyway, like, this, whatever, I was like, all right, like, we'll see. Like, I was gonna see how they were driving. It was okay until they get on the wrong side of the fucking highway. Thank God my angels had my back. They had my fucking back because nobody was on the highway that night. Thank God. And they got right off. And they knew, and I knew. And I think they even had said it out loud. Oh shit, like, so it proved my point. You know what I mean? And it wasn't even about being right. It was after that point, like, whatever. I kept shit cordial because I didn't want to have a blowout fight. Like, I honestly, at this point, was just like, I just didn't feel safe. So I finally, like, ended up finding out because this person was, like, so adamant about, like, they had gotten mad at me in the past and called me selfish before this trip, like, saying that I was selfish because I was going to watch their dog. This was when I was watching their dog for free. They ended up saying that I was selfish because I was going to watch their dog, but I wasn't going to get there ahead of time to drop them off at the airport. And I realized the reason why they were so pissed off about it to begin with and so adamant that someone always picks them up and drops them off at the airport was because they were no longer allowed to use Uber. Because one time, I believe they were in Mexico, they got caught with cocaine on them. And I was just like, now for those of you who know me, and now those of you who don't know me, I do not do drugs. Like, I used to drink a lot and I used to smoke a lot of weed. And like, sometimes I'll do like mushrooms. Like, even now, substances in general, they don't sit well with me. But that's like the extent to which I've ever done. And I do not like people that do like hard drugs like that. Like, I don't really keep those kinds of people in my circle. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, makes perfect sense now. Like, and just the fact that it was like this person hid that for me, it was just like they just didn't want to be honest, like, in general. And I think it was because they saw the value in having me around and didn't want to like squander that. But I'd rather somebody just be honest, bro. I'd rather you just be honest. And they weren't. And they put my life in danger. That is where I drew the line. That is where I drew the line. So, needless to say, we were not friends when we got home. And I didn't make a big to-do about it. But I was like, nah, you're cut off. Cut the cameras, bitch. So then, the other most notable time, and then, remember what I said, before I went on this trip, I just see 222. Before I went on this trip, I had a gut feeling not to go. And that's very unlike me because I love to travel. This was the first time this ever happened to me. The second time, this was somebody else, and we were also traveling. The whole situation, I'm not gonna even go into because it's, put it this way, I'd be exposing this person, like, a lot. So I'm just not, because it's not my business, and to be honest, I don't really care. This is just a teachable moment. So basically, I used to sit for this person, like, and gave them a huge discount as a friend. And I used to, like, also met this person in the workplace. Also, another little lesson learned from all this, you don't know the people you work with until you know them. Like, outside of work, people be different. So don't always assume because you're all buddy-buddy with somebody in the workplace that, one, that they're going to be your friend if you decide to, like, move your career somewhere else, or that this person is professionally who they are outside of work. Oftentimes that's not the case, especially here. So anyway, the circumstances in which we were going on this trip already had me a little like, I'm not sure. Everything ended up working out, like, in my favor, essentially, like, safety-wise and whatever. So I was like, okay, cool, like, that was good. And all I really have to do usually is pray on things, and my spirit guides are like, we'll make it happen, and they do. But anyway, so I had been sitting for this person, and one day I got this intuitive nudge. And I will preface this by saying this. I used to work for someone that I believe was an alcoholic. This was like a while ago. And she's a very sweet person though. And I know she had like a lot of demons that she was running from. So I want to preface this by saying that because I am in no way trying to bash her. The other person that I used to work with, not the person that I'm telling about. Well, I'm not trying to bash anyway. I'm just telling shit how it is. So anyway, like, and we had a very tumultuous relationship because a lot of people that are wounded, they like me till they realize I can't really be manipulated, and I just won't put up with being manipulated. I just won't. Yeah, and like, I'm just like, I like peace. Like, listen, we can have conversations if we need to, squash shit, whatever. You can come to me, talk to me. But certain people are just manipulating you, and I wasn't putting up with it. So anyway, like, that put a wrench in our dynamic oftentimes. But towards the end of like that workplace experience, like, even to this day, like, I have mad love for her. But anyway, the only reason I'm telling you that was because I had an intuitive nudge when I was like sitting for this person. This was like before I was like really doing it professionally, by the way, like really, really professionally. And I had given her a sweet deal. I got this intuitive nudge. I was standing in the middle of their kitchen and I was like, oh my gosh, this person is just like the person that I used to work for. Like, essentially, like, same issues, demons, struggles. And I was like, at first I was like, is this just like anxiety? The biggest difference between anxiety and intuition is anxiety like screams. Intuition is more soft. Even if it's like, it's making you like feel some type of way, like, you're still, even if it's intuitive and like it's eliciting a response from you, you're still like oddly calm inside. And I was like, oh fuck, but I had already like committed. So I was like, well, you know, we'll just see how it goes. Like, maybe I'm like, you know, I was literally gaslighting myself too. And this is how you learn. So whatever, we ended up traveling. Things were okay till they weren't. And I'm just going to keep this short now because like I said, I really don't want to relive the details. It's a very exhausting story to tell because there are a lot of moving parts, but this person, put it this way, they got drunk one night and was very, very, very nasty to me. Like, even to they were so fucked up, they were cross-eyed. They started like all of a sudden, when they had been so supportive of like my spiritual beliefs, like my love for astrology, whatever, started criticizing me for it and just like bashing me because I had called them out on something they were doing. And tried to paint me in the light of being like unsupportive. That wasn't it at all. What you're doing was wrong, and I called you out and you didn't like it. And basically, like, that night I was so scared, like so freaking scared. And I will tell this just as like a little hidden gem. In the hotel room, there was like, when I had went up to the hotel room after that experience to like get away and just like get ready for bed and just distance myself, there was a spider web with 2 spiders in the corner of the balcony, and I hadn't seen it before. And when I woke up in the morning, they were gone. Dude, that was like literally a huge message from spirit that like, we got you. So anyway, I was also, so our flight also got delayed before that night, like all this shit playing out. And I had seen in the airport 555, and I had sensed like the tension building, because again, the trip I took with another person before, this is a little familiar to me. So the vibes, I could sense the vibes, and I was like, oh fuck, like I was kind of expecting it at this point. Another thing, if you have an intuitive nudge and you really need to see it, spirit will usually send you signs to back you up and be like, you're not crazy, like, yeah. So anyway, next morning happens. This person, like, oh yeah, the night before, by the way, they were like, I had like gone up to go to the bathroom because I had to go so bad, like so freaking bad. And I just tried to like not really make noise or anything because I didn't want to like deal with the bullshit. And in the middle of the night, they were like they had accused me of going through their bag, stealing their water bottle, moving it, just very paranoid, very like, and I said, I was like, why would I have any reason to do that? Because I literally didn't. And I wouldn't, like, I don't like when, I'm a private person, I don't like when people go through my things. I don't do that to them. Like, even like, say, like, I'm sitting in a house, like, I don't like going through people's drawers. Like, if I'm looking for something, like, I'm on a mission specifically to find this one thing, and I'm out, like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't like it. And basically, like, this person also just, like, I feel like was throwing a fit because things had not worked out in the way that they thought they would. And I can't, like I said, I can't really go into too much detail because I just want to keep a lot of this anonymous. But yeah, both of those times my intuition had been speaking to me and I ignored it, and I found out the hard way. And I bet you for any situation you've ever ignored your intuition, you've also found out the very hard way unnecessarily. But you know what? Like, when we're still learning, like, sometimes I think it's a combination of like inexperience and also healing from, like, because when growing up, I never really felt validated. So that was something that I felt like I was moving through with these situations, and also like astrological transits going on at the time, and like your brain being fully developed. Like, I feel like all of these things play a role in like you being able to trust your inner voice and really deeply connect to it. So I always keep that in mind. And you know, like, since then, if I like, listen, I give people a chance. I don't overstep or allow them to overstay their welcome if I peep some shit. And sometimes, like I said, you don't always know. You can feel it intuitively, and that's all I need to know. You know what I mean? Like, I know if I'm just being a little cranky one day and just being a little like harsh or difficult and human. I know the difference between that and me like really genuinely being like, I think also like subconsciously, like sometimes my spirit will pick up on certain things, and like I'll act a certain way around certain people, like less open, if subconsciously I'm picking up on the fact that like this person cannot be trusted. I've noticed that too. And then later would find out that somebody in the room that I didn't know very well was on some bullshit. So it's another thing, like that's also helped me. Learning that has helped me with like the imposter syndrome of like doing readings for people, knowing that I can trust my intuition, feeling confident in that, being able to like provide a service and like know that like I'm stepping forward as like giving you the best of me and like my abilities. So yeah, that is why when I see what I need to see, also mastering discernment has helped me a lot. And it took a lot of my 20s to do that. It's helped me find what works for me and weed out the situations and people and things that do not work for me. And that's okay. Like not everything and everyone is going to be for you or me, and us for them, or yeah, for them. So it's just really important to remember to trust yourself, because this is your journey. And I have also found the more I implement these practices and connect more deeply to myself and to my inner world and my intuition, I've started attracting people that, to be honest with you, like I don't have to watch my back with. I don't get the ick from, like, even when people are just being human and being themselves, like just genuinely good people that I'm like, I know this person is a good person, and I don't feel like I have to convince myself of that regularly. And just allowing people to like the grace of being human. So I hope this helps. I love you guys. I am gonna eat breakfast and start my day, and this has just been something to think about. But comment down below your experiences or anything else you want me to touch upon. I love you. Have a happy hump day. Bye.